Hey guys and gals, welcome back to another Vinny Vid Productions video. If you guys enjoy watching layout updates, scratch builds on a budget, run op sessions, how-to, train shows, contests, and reviews, scroll your mouse down here and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit the bell so you'll be notified when I upload a new video. If you like the vid, give it a thumbs up. Share this video on other media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and other model railroad forums. Help support my channel by donating to my PayPal account or using my Amazon link to make your purchases. Both links are in the Show More section in this video down below. Let's get started. Alright guys, in my previous stills I showed you how I was setting this all up by drawing the lines and the grooves, and I showed the size and all that stuff. Now it's time for us to begin. So I'm going to start with the ridge part of the roof, and I'm using this number 122 for that particular part of the job. And so I'm just going to go ahead and lay some glue down in here, and I have this tube under here to represent the pitch of the roof. So when I put this the ridge part in there, it'll pretty much conform to what I have built on the building itself. So we're just going to take a bead of glue, we're going to run it down the seam here. And then we're going to lay a ridge beam in there. Once our ridge beam is in there, we'll start putting the verticals and the horizontals in there. I want this to look like a steel panel roof, and then we're going to spray it with the metallic paint that I have. Anyhow, I'm going to let this set up for a minute. I already installed this first rib, and then what I'm going to do is the side ribs here. And like I said, I did groove them out, and I already have pre-cut all my parts, so all I got to do now is just start installing them. Anyhow, we'll begin with this. Try and be as neat as you can, but sometimes with these little parts it's kind of hard to be exactly as clean as possible. And I always make them just a bit longer, and I can trim them down later. And hopefully this will look like what I want it to look like when I get done with it. And we'll go ahead and do the second rib right here. And the trick to this is to kind of move the glue fast. Oops. And whatever kind of glue mess ups I have, I will try and clean up at the end. Again, like I said, I have all my parts pre-cut, so basically I just need to lay them in there. This guy don't wanna. Guess there wasn't enough glue in there. Alright. Hold that down for a second. That humming you're hearing in the background is my computer, because my computer is mounted on the lower part of my desk here. Alright, so now we got the second piece on there, and we'll go ahead and install one of the cross sections. There's some people that don't like all the detail I do on their builds, but this is how I do it. If you're going to get a build from me, it's going to get as much detail as I can put in without overspending. I need to cut that guy down a bit. There we go. Anyhow, I'm not going to bore you guys with this process because it will take me a while to do it. But I'll bring you back when the roof gets done. So let me continue on this, and we'll be back in a little bit. Alright guys, as you can see here, I've got all my simulated steel panels for the roof. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add trim around the edges, and for that I'm going to be using this number 122 evergreen styrene strips. And I just want to remind you guys that all of the products that I use for my builds you can find on my Amazon page. Anyhow, we're going to go ahead and get started, and we'll see how this turns out. So stay tuned, and we'll be back with this part of the project. Alright guys, now that my trim is done on these sides, I do some shortcuts, and as you can see right here and right there, and also on the back side, I always make them a bit longer. This saves time for measuring and so on and so forth. So now all I need to do is take my blade, and make sure you got a new blade every time you work on a project, but I'll just go ahead and snip it off right there. And I will snip it off right here, and then the same thing on the other side. And guys, you got to remember, what I do here is my way of doing stuff. Eventually you'll come up with your own ways to do stuff. Now we're going to do the front edge, and the front edge I am going to attempt to use in one piece, and we'll see how that works out. Again, this is a new technique for me. Always try something new when you're building stuff, and so let's see if we can get this to stand up using these little clamps right here as my helping hands. And so what I'm going to do is I'm start on one edge on this side here, trying to get you guys in frame. Start on one side here and glue it up to this point, and then when that dries I'll go ahead and make the bend and continue it around to this side. Now that may or may not work, I'm not 100% sure yet, but we'll see how that goes. So let's get on with that project. Alright guys, just to let you know what kind of adhesive I use. For the most part, I use this Model Masters glue for plastic products. Once in a while I'll use some CA, but most of the time it's this Model Masters glue. Now this has had some time to cure up. It's not 100% dry yet, but it is enough for where I can handle it. So I'll take my clamps out of here. And what I'll do now is I will trim the edges down. One thing I want to mention, the way I do my models is I always put the front part of it over the side parts. I think it just gives a better appearance that way. Again, that's my way of doing it. So however you feel comfortable doing it is up to you. So we'll just go ahead and flip this over on the side. And we'll go ahead and give it a trim down. Okay, then the next step I'll do is I'll take a little emery board and I'll kind of just round the corner off a little bit just by doing this, and it'll give it that finished appearance look. And now I'm thinking that because this is an office, the roof to an office section of the layout, of the build I should say, it most likely has a restroom. And a restroom needs to have a vent pipe. So for that I'm going to be using this rod that came in this multi-pack kit number 217. As you can see, let's try to get this in there. And it has some various sizes of rods and tubes in there. To do this, I just got to figure out where on this roof I want to put it, and usually the restroom will be towards the back of the office. So I will take my 1/16 drill bit in my pin vise, and I will put this wherever I think it might be necessary to have it. So I'll just pick out a spot. Let's say we'll do it right here, and I'll just go ahead and drill this through. And just take your time doing it. Always take your time when you're building a model. It definitely helps. Once I get this hole drilled out, this roof basically will be ready to get primed and painted. Let's see, let's put this over here. Like I said, it takes time to do this. Don't be in a rush. If you're in a rush, your models won't come out 100%. So there you go. I got my hole. And I know this hole is a bit tighter than the rod I'm going to stick through there. But we will go ahead and stick this through. And you may have to persuade it a bit. If it doesn't work, you can always make the hole a bit bigger. Oops. Sorry about that. Like I said, things don't always go as planned, so you just need to adapt and overcome. So what I'll do is I'll take my bit again and I'll just go in the hole and just kind of wiggle it out a bit. You don't want to make it too big. You want the pipe or the rod to stick in there fairly tight. And there you go. Now I'll just cut it to length and I will paint this black, and we'll have a little detail on the roof here. Anyhow, let me go out and get this primed up, and we'll go from there. Stay tuned and we'll be back in a few minutes. Alright guys, I went ahead and painted this black, as you can see, and what I used was this Quick Color, and it's a Home Depot product, and if you look at the very bottom shelf of their spray paint department, you can get these cans for 99 cents. And it works fairly well. The only thing is it only comes in two colors. It comes in white and black, and they are both glossy, so you'll have to do a flat coat on them after you get finished painting. Anyhow, time for me to go paint this paint the roof up, and let's see what it looks like when it's painted up. Be back in a little bit. Alright guys, as you can see, I've got the roof all primed up. Unfortunately, I ran out of the gray primer. So I've been using this Rust-Oleum red primer. It's pretty nice, and the color came out pretty good. I like the color. I might even just leave it like that. But I really decided to make this a steel colored roof, so I'll be using that metallic silver paint that I have. This has been drying for about 4 hours now, so I think it's ready for the final coat. And so I'll get on with that, and I'll bring you back when I get that done. Be back in a few minutes. Alright guys, this is the final product of the roof. As you can see, I have it painted in the metallic silver paint that I used. I also have the vent stack installed, and this is not finished 100% yet. I will be doing some weathering to it, but what I used for dull coat, rather than using the Testors dull coat, which costs $7 for a can, what I used was this Valspar. This works just as well as the Testors does, and you get 3 times the amount for half the price. So that's another little tip for you guys to save some money. Anyhow, the next part of this project is going to be moving on to the front office wall. And I don't know if you guys can see that, but I have the windows and the door entries drawn out and ready to be cut out. But I want to show you something that I did with the front door. I was having a problem finding something that I really like to use for this. So I had this in my pile of stuff, and as you can see where the white is, I reconfigured the door. I made a different frame, and I also added a place for the door handle. That part will get painted the metallic silver. The rest of it will get painted the green that I've been using for the rest of the trim on this build. Next thing are these windows. Let me see if I can get you to see these a little bit better. I'll put it on the back of here. Now these windows, I wanted the front office entry and just the front wall of the office to look a little bit more modern than the rest of the building. So these windows are actually N scale, and it's okay to mix and match N scale with HL, providing that it looks okay. So when I put the door and the window together, you see that they line up pretty good. And I'll tell you one thing about this. Even though this is a cheap HO scale ruler, on the back side it has these 2 guys. One is a 5'4" guy, and the other one's a 6'4" guy. And if I put these in front of the door, you can see that it matches up pretty well. Anyhow, we're going to start by cutting out the holes for these, and I'm going to start with the door. And one thing always to remember, guys, is when you're cutting out doors and windows, always make them smaller than they should be. You can always make it bigger, but you can't make it smaller. So anyhow, let me get set up for that, and we'll start doing this project. Be back in a few. Alright guys, as you can see, this is the first hole that was cut out. Now, I could have used this tool to do it, but I know a lot of you guys probably don't have this. But I am going to look on Amazon, see if it's there, and I will put it on my Amazon link, so if you guys need to get one, it'll be there. This is a really nifty tool for cutting out windows and doors. So anyhow, I did use my blade, and I did show that that is number 7 blade. I think it might even be number 8. I lost count. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and cut the windows out, and we'll bring it back when the windows are cut out. So we'll be back in a little bit. Alright guys and gals, what you're looking at now is the final section of the contest winners scratch build. This is the front office wall, and as you can see, I've got the windows in here, the door that I modified and put it in, and the window on the other side. Like I mentioned earlier, these are N-scale windows, but as the whole thing appears to be pretty well matched up. Anyhow, the next time you'll see this wall, it'll be permanently part of the main building, and once this wall gets installed, the entire building will get its final paint job. And after the paint job, all the windows, doors, and accessories and everything will be going in. And then final would be the silos. I know I said the silos was going to be done a while ago, but I thought I'd get the main building completed first and then work on the silos. Anyhow, I hope you guys and gals enjoyed this part of the video, and as always, your questions, comments, input, subs, shares, and likes are always welcome. For now, that's all folks. BNSF 6951